Yeah.
Do you think it is?
Yeah, it's based on something what we call presupposition. There are certain things that are, in order for what you're interpreting to be true, a whole bunch of other things have to be assumed to be true as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Like your own value system is what you base your comprehension of what.
Absolutely, absolutely. We call that criterion rules. Let me give you a linguistic example that'll kind of really pull this out to you. I teach a lot of conversational hypnosis, and one of the things that Tracy, can you see if we can get an eraser for the board, please? One of the things that I teach is something called the adverb-adjective presupposition. Okay? Now, in traditional academic English, we are generally taught that if we were going to say, for example, the dog that was, ready for this? Blue. Now, fast rewind real quick. When I said the dog, how many people saw a dog in your head? Right? Before I said the color, how many had a blue one? What color was your dog?
I didn't think of a color when you said the dog.
All right. But you saw a dog, right? What color is the dog?
The dog that I saw?
Mm-hmm.
Black and white.
Black and white. Right? What happens is your conscious mind pays attention to the words. Your unconscious mind pays attention to the structure. And the moment it hears something like the word dog, it starts accessing every file in your system connected to the word dog, and it spits up a picture based on that association. What I did here was I gave you a poorly, well, it's not poorly, actually this is how most of us are taught to write. This is the structure of all born in communication, by the way. The descriptor, the thing that describes the dog, is after the thing it describes. Okay? The more pleasant and more efficient way to make sure that what is communicated is what we sent is to put the descriptor before the thing it describes. Right? Now, I used this to show you how your unconscious mind takes a little piece of information and it starts to run with it. It starts throwing in its own information regardless of whether it's accurate or not. Now, this process happens millions and millions of times below the threshold of conscious awareness. When you repeatedly get hit with this kind of structure in your language, you start to get tired. Because what literally has to happen is you're flowing along real smooth, going along, but every time you meet something in the language that doesn't match your internal picture, you have to stop, rewind your picture, change the photograph to match, and move on. That's the structure of bad writing. When I say bad writing, I'm not talking about technical writing. I'm talking about boring writing, stuff that's not fun to read. Technical manuals are written like this. Scientific journals are written like this. Okay? But if you look at the most compelling forms of literature that we have, almost without exception, first of all, there's lots of descriptors. Right? Lots of them. And they're almost always on either side. Okay? This is probably the easiest way that I can give you an example of what your brain is doing. Okay? It's doing this all the time with every word that it hears, every process. It's just doing it so fast and so seamlessly that you don't realize it's what's actually structuring your perception of reality. NLP is the study of the structure of subjective human experience and how language interacts with that to create our experience of the world. Once we understand this, and that in many cases the words coming out of our mouths are literal maps of how our brain, what parts of our brain are being activated at any given moment, we gain tremendous power over the system. We gain a tremendous level of self-knowledge and self-awareness. But until we become aware of it, this process will run us. Now, I'm using a very simple, very basic, one simple language pattern, okay, to illustrate what the brain is always doing. It's doing this in every aspect of your life. It's taking all the information that comes in, it's finding all the associations connected to it, and spitting up the one consciously to your awareness that it thinks is most relevant to the situation you're in. But it's remembering and accessing all of them. It doesn't pick unconsciously. It fires all of them. This is one of the powerful ways that conversational hypnosis and NLP creates powerful changes in people. Because a neurolinguistic programmer, somebody who understands how the brain actually processes information, can talk to you at one level and be activating you on another. Okay? In the context we're in here, it's a very good thing. In the context of the people running the country, not so good. Okay? You came here because you want to take the randomness out of your life. Would that be true? Okay. Is this stuff useful so far? Okay. So what do we do about it? Did that answer your question? Okay. I just want to make sure, because every now and then people ask me a question. I lapse into what I think is a very comprehensive explanation. They go, that was great, but you didn't answer my question. So I want to make sure. I'm not putting anybody down. I'm not trying to. It's weird for me to be up on the stage. I'm telling you right now. So my perspectives are very shifted. So what I want to do now is I want to introduce you to a little bit to how to start changing, how to start making changes. And I want to do that by starting to ask you a few questions. Okay? How many people here have something that is blocking them? Okay? Excellent. How many people here have something they want to do better? Okay. How many people here, their primary concern is a relationship or something related to relationships? Okay. Again, I want to target, humans learn best in context, so I want to make sure that you're connecting what you want most to the processes. Does that make sense? One of the other things that happens a lot of times is when people come to these workshops, and we do, like, every now and then we do break up and actually practice with each other, they almost always pick the biggest, evilest, nastiest thing in their life and throw a technique they barely know at it and wonder why this shit doesn't work. Right? Your brain is hardwired and defaults to remembering things. Okay? We spend a lot of time thinking we're thinking, when in actuality we're remembering. Your brain defaults to what's familiar. So if you have this potentially new opportunity that you've never had before, it's a new experience, maybe it's something that has a huge payoff, right? But it's completely new, it's alien to the system, versus not doing anything and doing what you've been doing and feeling like crap about it, but you've been doing that for 20 years. Guess what your brain will pick? It's just the way the system works. It's hardwired that way. Now, can you transcend it? Yes. But only if you first become aware of it. First rule in David's world. Anything outside of your awareness is outside of your control. My job tonight is to give you that awareness. Because once you have awareness, you now have choice. And regardless of that, sometimes NLP gets a bad rap as being overly manipulative. The true spirit of NLP and the disciplines that I teach is all about giving people choices. Until you understand the unconscious programs running below the surface, you only think you have a choice. You have to, if you want to make a change, if you want to do something different, you have to muster tremendous amounts of will to get it done. Well, guess what? You don't have that much. Willpower is a finite resource. There's a book you might want to pick up. It's called Willpower by a guy named Roy Baumeister. Okay? In that book, Baumeister isolates the 2 building blocks of your willpower. The amount of sleep that you've had, the amount of blood sugar in your system. See, I'm giving you willpower. Right? We burn up units of willpower every time we have to exert emotional control. Because we don't have one brain, we have 3. You guys know this? Okay. You have 3 brains. This is your brain on David. The most prehistoric, the most primal, the most powerful part of you is your reptile brain. The Russian sports psychologists call this your paleocortex. Okay? It is the part of you that works in primal drives. Food, family, fighting, fleeing, fornicating. Okay? It's the part of you that works in terms of primal drives. It's driving the bus. This is why every now and then you'll hear me make an off-color remark. It's not just because I want to be vulgar. It's because every time I stimulate the reptile brain, I get 20 more minutes of attention. And I need your attention. I need you to understand this. Okay? Wrapped around your reptile brain is another layer. It's called your limbic system or your mammalian brain. This is your emotional brain. This is the part of you that generates feelings. Right? There's a subset of lawyers in this country, some of whom I've trained, and they practice a system called reptile. And it's all based on how to speak and present to the reptile brain. And they are winning multi-million dollar lawsuits using it. Okay? There's a whole field called neuromarketing, which is all about presenting information in a way that the reptile brain has to respond to. Now, here's the thing you need to understand about the reptile brain. It doesn't care about morality. It doesn't care about the law. It doesn't care about religion. It doesn't care about ethics. All it cares about is satisfying and perpetuating the genes. Because your genes don't go to heaven. The meat stays here. Right? The rest of us may go upstairs or downstairs, but the meat stays here. So all it cares about is the here and now. And it works off primal. It generates drives. Write this down, tattoo it on your forehead, because it will be a driver in 90% of the things you're going to encounter in terms of getting past things or getting people to do things. The drive that does not get satisfied gains strength. Your brain, your lizard brain, if there's a drive that is not being met, will consistently, without remorse, take up more and more and more of the attention in your brain and your body until you act on it in some way. Now, many times, those actions that we're being prompted to do conflict with other things that we were taught at different layers of our experience. They conflict with what we were taught was good and bad as kids. They conflict with what society says is appropriate. They conflict with the rules of friendship or fair play. But we still want to satisfy that drive. We still want to find some way to balance that drive out. So what happens is the reptile brain generates an emotion. That emotion causes you to take action. Every drive in the body is a feeling, and all feelings are emotion, or all emotions are feelings, but not all feelings are emotions. So what do? We have another layer of our brain that came along later. It's the problem-solving part of our brain. It's called the neocortex, aka the rational, lying brain. This is the part of you that is in charge of generating a reason why you're doing the thing you're doing, and the part of you that's in charge of making sure that that reason, because there's usually two reasons why you're doing it, the one you're going to tell people and the real reason, right? It's in charge for generating both of them. How many people here ever wind up having resistance to certain things come up in your life? Right? Do you know what the structure of resistance is, or what the primal areas of resistance are? We inherently resist anything that conflicts or threatens our sense of self. In other words, if the information or the situation I'm in threatens how I see myself, causes me to look at myself less than appropriately or less than positively, I will inherently resist it. We inherently resist anything that threatens how other people see us. Okay? This is if nobody's looking, they're a different person. Right? But if they're a public figure, they care about how other people see them, the image that they have. Anything that conflicts with that, we resist. It's just the way we work. We resist anything that conflicts with what we know to be true. Here's the rub. For most of us, what's true is what's familiar. What's familiar, more often than not, because I'm a therapist. I spend a lot of time helping people go to places that they didn't know they had to go to get free stuff out of running their lives. More often than not, what's familiar was what was there first. When I do hypnotic regressions on people, and I regress them to the first scene, situation, or event that has everything to do with the reason they're there, without exception. Well, all right, 9 out of 10. When we spring back to the seed of that reason, cancer, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, chronic pain, herpes, I've got neuropathy. You know, any chronic disease, almost without exception, 0 to 5 years old. When I regress them back to the very first scene, situation, or event, very first experience that has everything to do with why they're there, they almost all, 9 out of 10, go to the time period between the ages of 0 and 5. Even though, when they walked into my treatment room, they came to me because they wanted to learn how to do a backflip better and they were afraid. Yes?
So let's say I get something that related back to when I was 1 year old,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't remember that.
Your unconscious mind can't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When you're in the kind of work I'm describing, which is not the work we're doing here, okay? When you're doing regressive work, you have to remember that the unconscious mind is like a video camera that's always running, but it runs in all 5 senses. Okay? So everything is recorded, but it's not exact. Okay? Information is deleted, distorted, and generalized. Now, here's where it gets cool. When you come into this world, you have no idea of what's right or wrong. You don't know good and evil. You only know feels good, feels bad. It's familiar, it's unfamiliar. I feel safe, I feel threatened. That's all you know. You have this huge blank hard drive. Okay? And whatever experience you have becomes like a little hook. I should probably erase some of this crap. Did you guys get all this? Okay. Is this useful?
Yes.
All right. This is what's driving your bus, guys. Okay? This is what's driving the bus. Cool part is you're going to be able to drive it yourself real friggin' soon. Okay? Now, can you see the board okay? Okay. So, this is you at birth. There is nothing there. Maybe a few hardwired instincts, right? You have no sense of self. You have no sense of identity. It does not exist. And if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. How, in fact, were you formed in the womb? Did you suddenly pop into existence with a head and feet? Or did you start out as a cell that was part of a bunch of other cells and then slowly evolved into something else? Your sense of self is mommy. You are identified with mommy. When you come out through the birth canal, that doesn't change. It doesn't change for quite a while. Okay? The ages of 0 to 5 are the most critical. You have no critical factor. You have no analytical capacity whatsoever. Whatever comes in first, positive or negative, the first experience of each thing is just recorded. It's not judged. It's not analyzed. It's not compared. It's just recorded. And then an interesting thing happens. As you begin to accumulate more and more experiences, they start to get grouped. Your unconscious mind starts to sort things by sameness. But they're not 100% the same. They can be just 30% the same, but they connect it. It's not linear. And everything that comes after that primal experience, that formal experience, becomes the standard by which everything else is measured. Each of these experiences that we have are like little hooks that we hang other experiences on. And from that moment on, as we begin to develop that critical factor, we call it the bar, the bouncer at the bar kind of a thing. You know, you guys have all been to a nightclub, right, where they have the bars deciding who gets in and who doesn't, right? I usually slip them $100 and they look the other way. But for most of us, people come up to us, they tell us they want to get in, the bouncer says, no, you don't have the right look, you don't have the right feel. How does he make that distinction? Because he decides what fits the internal environment. If you don't match the energy of the club, you don't match the energy of the people that they're trying to cater to, you don't get in. That's exactly what your unconscious mind and your conscious mind do. Every time somebody tells you something, the first thing that happens is your unconscious mind sorts through your memories, which are imperfect. There's information missing. But it replays everything it has in full fidelity. The feelings, the experiences, all of the building blocks are there. And you have that feeling again. If what's coming in matches that, it's generally accepted. You get another tick. If it doesn't match, it's rejected. Unless there's a tremendous amount of emotion or repetition. It's the only way those things get in, as long as the critical factor of the conscious mind is in place. That's just how you work. Now, the cool thing is, A, write this down, tattoo it on your foreheads. The best thing about the past, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's gone. The things you're carrying around in your head are not the events that happened to you. They're imperfect photographs. They have information missing. They have information that's distorted. They have information that has been generalized to make processing easier. And each of those photographs is written in a code that dictates what you feel, see, hear, and perceive, important word, perceive, when that memory is accessed. How many people here have ever seen a show called Lie to Me? Okay. If you haven't watched that show, go rent the first 3 seasons. There's only 3. Lie to Me. Yeah. It's the consultant for that show. It's all about this expert in facial recognition, lie detection, and how he goes and solves crimes and things like that. But the consultant for that show was a guy named Paul Ekman. Paul Ekman is the world's leading authority on emotion, facial cues, and how they interact. He actually discovered something called micro-expressions, which are little tiny fragments of facial expressions that happen underneath the ones we're trying to purvey. So you may be smiling, but actually be very, very sad. Okay? But they happen in a fraction of a second. But even that, he's also one of the leading experts on lying. He wrote a book called Emotions Revealed. In that book, he outlines and defines a phenomenon known as the emotional refractory period. The emotional refractory period is the period of time between the onset of an emotion and the time it dissipates. During that time, that emotional state seeks to go on as long as it possibly can. And it starts looking for ways to keep going. It's like a little life form that wants to keep going. So what it does, on a neurological level, without your conscious consent, without your permission, without your awareness, it changes what you pay attention to. How many people here have ever been in an argument? Good. It's like, I don't want to. Just raise your friggin' hands, goddamn. All right. Now, how many people noticed that you went through the arguing process, had the knockdown, drag out, got the resolution, whatever it was, and for the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, years later, anything you said to that person pissed them off again? No matter what. They found some way to twist what you said and get angry again. Welcome to the world of the emotional refractory period. Anytime you go into an emotional state, your perceptions change. What you consciously pay attention to changes. And you only pay attention to the data or the aspects of the environment, context, or experience that re-trigger or reinforce the state. It does not. You don't get a 2-minute warning that you're about to get pissed off. The unconscious mind does not signal you're about to have an emotional shift. You just go into it. Right? And once you're in that state tries to maintain itself as long as possible. How many people ever bought a new car? Okay, excellent. How many people here really researched the car before they bought it? Cool. How many people here had this experience? You go to the lot, you haggle over the car, make sure it's the right color. You pay for the car, you're driving home, going, yeah. And every motherfucker bought the same car on the same day. Everywhere you look, you see the same car. How did that happen? Same thing. You went into a specific state that was highly polarized to sorting for a specific kind of information. Your perceptual filters shifted, and everywhere you went, that's what your unconscious mind pulled into your awareness. This is the same structure that's underlying law of attraction. It's what's running below the surface in your body, the feelings that are being generated, that are changing your perceptions and systematically drawing certain kinds of experiences into your life and removing the awareness of other types. See, everything we could ever want is already here. It's just filtered. That's all it is. It's just filters of our awareness. Does that make sense? Yes?
Does that mean we're focusing or changing our focus?
Something is.
Something like that.
Yeah. What's happening is your nervous system is filtering your reality. It's filtering what you pay attention to and the information you can get many, many times before anything becomes conscious. As I like to say, I'm right with you, your conscious mind is the least informed and the last to know. But it's the one that screams the loudest, and it's the one that gives you the rationale that's acceptable to yourself for why you do the things you do, so that's what we listen to. Yes? Sure. Anybody here ever been in a relationship and you come home and your spouse is really pissed off and nothing you do is right and you did absolutely nothing? It's like, guys, you come home, you left the toilet seat up, you don't get sex for a month because you left the toilet seat up. Ladies, you come home, you're pissed off because the guy at work looked at you the wrong way again, boss made you stay late, the kids were giving you a hassle, right? You're not feeling real good. And then next thing you know, you start venting to hubby, right? And he makes the cardinal mistake of trying to fix your problem instead of just listening and letting you vent it, right? Classic understanding of perceptual filters changing. Why? Because neurologically, when a woman gets stressed out, she gets more and more picky. She gets more and more precise, more and more detail-oriented. When a man gets stressed out, he gets progressively more global. He gets progressively more big picture. When a woman communicates about her day and about the problems that she's had, she's not, especially to her man, she's not communicating to him for him to solve her frickin' problem. She's more than smart enough to figure out her own shit. She just wants him to listen and let her vent it. But we don't. But hold on a second, motherfucker. I'm on their side. All right? Guys don't think that way. Guys think in cause and effect terms. You have a problem, I fix it, it's done. But that's not how the other gender operates. So the moment she starts to vent, she starts to express, you try to fix her problem. And that's exactly the wrong thing. Because if you're trying to fix her problem, you're not listening. And if you're trying to fix her problem, you're insulting her intelligence. Because chances are, she's already fixed it. She just wants to decompress and slime you for a while. Right? You have to understand the perceptual filters that the other gender... And this is not misogynist. This is neuroscience. This is what the studies are showing. If you want to look it up, you can look up a guy by the name of John Medina. He wrote a book called Brain Rules. And there's actually a video of him teaching to Google where I actually learned that from. So you can actually pull it up on YouTube. It's well worth reading. But when you have a good day, think about this. When you want to ask your significant other something that they're very, very predisposed to say no to, don't you do everything you can to butter them up, put them in a good mood first? This means yes, this means no. And it works for both genders, right? Right? We know we forgot the anniversary, so we go through heaven and earth to just buy anything that looks expensive, and like we actually, we try to compensate, right? But it's too late, because the filters are in place. Because when the filters shift, now even your positive intentions are going to get distorted, or you're just trying to make up for screwing up in the first place. Does that make sense? This is what we do. Okay, I went a little bit deeper into the neurology of it because I wanted you to understand that there's all kinds of filters going on here. But if a guy screws up in a relationship, puts you in a bad mood, nothing he does is going to make it up to you. Short of two things. Looking her in the eyes, getting on his knees. No, I'm kidding. You actually want to know what'll do it faster than anything else? Honey, I'm sorry I was wrong. And then wait for it. Which is where most guys screw that up. Because just because you apologized doesn't mean she's done. She has to vent. You say, I'm sorry, she accepts your apology, and then she goes on for another 20 minutes. Why? She needs to decompress. What do? We get pissed off. I just said I'm sorry. Why are you still talking about it? Because that's how you process, not her. If all you did when you were truly sorry was look her in the eyes and from a sincere place say, honey, I'm sorry I was wrong, and let her slime you for 10, 15 minutes, life would be happy. But we don't. Because we don't understand the process. Everything human beings do is a process. And every process has a structure. And if it has a structure, it has a code. If it has a code, it can be changed. Does that make sense? Okay? But seriously, if you, in terms of relationships, if all you understood was this concept that when women are stressed, they get more specific, more detailed. When a man gets stressed, he gets more global. And when you come home, you detect any shift in that level in your significant other, you know what to do. Or in some cases, what not to. Right? That's what NLP teaches us, is that every single one of you are moving through the world with a checklist, a map of how the world is supposed to work based on your internal environment. And you're projecting it out onto everybody around you, looking for the people who match and making anybody who doesn't wrong. Both genders do it. The secret is being aware enough to understand that that process is going on and having the flexibility enough to change what you're doing to match the person in front of you. To step into their map of the world. Does that make sense? That's the core of what NLP is about, is understanding how are these maps created. Hey, first of all, understanding that the map is not the experience. The best thing about the past is that it's gone. All you have left is an imperfect, poorly written memory based on the emotions you were feeling and the information you had at the time that your nervous system randomly put in a filing cabinet somewhere. How many of you have a business? If you just took any piece of paper that came across your desk and threw it in a random filing cabinet, how long would your business last? But that's how our nervous system runs itself. Now, the good part is there's some default organization in there. So we're not completely hopeless. Right? But if all we're carrying around inside of us, not just in our minds, but in our bodies, this is the key part. These things are not in your mind, per se. They're in your body. They're not just in your brain, although your brain's important. I'm often reminded, anybody here know who Emu Phillips is? He was a famous comedian back in the 80s. Kind of a schlep. He kind of talked like this. Had really long hair. And he would say things like, you know, I used to think that the brain was the most fascinating organ in the body. And then I thought, well, look who's telling me that. Right? That's literally what your neocortex is doing. The newest level of your brain. The part that thinks and rationalizes and analyzes. The part that thinks in words. The part that makes up reasons to justify acting on the rest of the system. The part that thinks it knows how to fix your shit. The part that tries to analyze whether something's actually working instead of going along with the process with full absorption and full commitment. That's the part that's keeping you stuck. How many people here have ever been little children? How many people here have ever been little children? Have been little children. In other words, not do you have them, have you ever been one? And if I don't see any hands, if I see hands not going up, I'm going to call on you. And I'm going to find out what test tube or cloning booth you came from. Right? So how many people here have ever been little children? And when you were a little child, did you play pretend?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. What did you like to play pretend at?
Superhero.
Superhero. Cool. Did you play pretend?
With Barbie dolls.
With Barbie dolls. How about you? Wonder Woman. I like her already. How about you guys?
I played with box houses.
Box?
They were real.
Then they were real? How about you?
I played house.
Played house? Cool. How about you? Princess. All right. So how many tomboys do we have? How many girly girls? Now, how many played soldier? Superhero? Wonder Woman? Yeah. Here's the cool part. When you were a little kid and you played pretend, and you're out in the backyard or wherever it was, you picked up the toy or the stick, and you knew in the first 5 minutes that it was just a stick, that it was just a toy for the first 5 minutes. And 7.5 minutes later, it's a real M60, you're Rambo, and there's real communists coming around the corner and you're killing them all dead. Right? Or For the first 5 minutes, you knew the teddy bear sitting across from you was not the Queen of England, even though it had a little tiara. 7.5 minutes later, you're having tea with the Queen of England, and you're having this long, drawn-out conversation over kippers. Were you asleep? Were you asleep when you played Wonder Woman?
I was escaping.
You were escaping. Okay. Were you having a ball?
Not really, but I was escaping.
Okay.
It was better than.
It was better than where you were going, right?
Right.
Okay. Were you having a ball when you were playing soldier?
Sure.
Were you completely absorbed in the experience? Were you focused? Congratulations. If you can just do that, you can have any change you want. If you can just be like a little kid and play pretend, act it out, you can have, be, or do anything you want. A very wise woman once told me, you can be, do, or have anything that you want, but first, you must become the person to whom that thing can happen. Yes?
So that's like putting on the persona that you want to be for a while until you...
Yeah, that's a little bit more advanced than this course.
Right.
This course is about just fixing shit and getting kind of on track and giving you some foundation. This rabbit hole, there's no end to it. You can keep going with this. We do things in some of our advanced meetups that seem like science fiction. Anybody here have a pain? Cool. One more thing before I start bringing people up and demonstrating stuff. First of all, if you come up, it's assumed that you're okay to be seen on camera. Okay, that's one. Second of all, how many people here have ever seen a movie? Right? How many people have a favorite movie? How many people here have lots of favorite movies? As long as somebody else is paying, it's my favorite movie. Right? Now, you all know that when you walk into a movie theater, you sit down, you got your milk duds in one hand, popcorn in the other, big ocean of soda somewhere, maybe the boyfriend and the girlfriend's carrying it. And you sit down in the chair, and the lights go down, and the screen opens. And 90 minutes, 2 hours, 2.5 hours go by, and you have an amazing time. You're swept into the story. And the credits start playing, and you come back to the moment, and you've had an amazing experience. And aside from the ache in your bladder, and the inability to stand up because you've been holding it for the last 20 minutes waiting for the trailer, can you tell me at what moment you became completely absorbed in that experience? Because if you can, you're lying. It means you weren't absorbed. Absorption in the process is one of the single biggest keys to getting full and pervasive change. When we start doing these exercises, and we will very shortly, there's two things you have to be aware of. If you're trained in NLP or hypnosis, we call it hypnotist disease. If you're not trained, we call it smart person syndrome. Smart person syndrome is when we're having an experience, I'm guiding you through an experience. You can always tell who they are because they're the ones who sit in the chair going, I'm telling you to act shit out, and they're going, and I'm doing it in my head. Ain't going to work. Or not as well. One of the secrets to what we are learning tonight is somatic engagement. When you get the body involved, it's impossible not to change. And I say that knowing I'm going to be challenged. You don't have to believe anything I'm telling you. All you have to do is follow the instructions. Seriously. The change work that I do, people who are dying, people who are critical, people who are, things are starting to come out. They're having, transplants and organs starting to talk to them. The people I work with aren't just weight loss people. They're people with serious, serious problems. The change work I do is too important to be left up to the wimpy beliefs of a client. If a client has no belief in their ability to do a change, they won't get it. So my stuff works whether you believe it or not, as long as A, you follow the instructions, you get completely absorbed, and be focused like a little kid when you were playing pretend. That's all you have to do. That's why we started the whole class off with just looking at each other and going, woo! And feeling good. Because the power is in the playful. And I don't care if you've got a tumor. I don't care if you've got constipation. I don't care if you've got a backache, frozen shoulder, knee pain. Would you stand up, please? Yeah. Can I call on you? This is sweet. Give her a big round of applause. She was one of the lovely demo subjects at one of my energy healing meetups, where we practiced with her one of the techniques that I didn't say sit down, young lady. You came to me and you had a problem with was it anxiety or shyness? I can't. Shyness. And what happened? How long had you had that problem? Forever. And how fast did it go away? What's that?
One event.
One event? How long were you up in front of the class? Seemed like forever, right? Maybe a few minutes, right? When you get, thank you, give her a big round of applause. When you get the body involved, everything synergizes. When you separate elements out, if part of what we need is absorption and focus in the experience, and there's a part of us sitting on the outside wondering if it's working, neocortex, by the way, that's the part that's keeping you stuck. Now, the beautiful part is, the more the body you get involved, even if there's a part of you sitting on the outside watching, the change will still work. Because I've literally had people, and you can go to my YouTube channel and find videos from my LA meetings, where the guy didn't believe this shit would work. And he just starts doing this spin thing, and he's just doing like, and all of a sudden you see something else, something weird happens. And he slams it back in, and his whole shit changed. Shit, secret hypnotic influence technique. Not my first rodeo, right? Okay, so, who had an ouchie? Come on up. Give her a big round of applause. So, what's your name?
Kathy.
Kathy, I'm David. Thank you for coming up and being so attentive. Where's your ouchie?
I have like this piriformis issue.
Piriformis issue, okay.
Yeah.
Is it okay to fix it? Is it okay to take the pain away?
I would love to take the pain away.
Okay, is there some reason that the pain needs to stay there? Remember, just because you can take something away doesn't mean you should.
No.
Okay, so there's nothing
And
but.
you can take the numbness and the tingling away too.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right, so here's what I want you to point to where you feel it.
Right now?
Yeah.
It's like right now it's right here.
Okay, cool.
It's like
Close your
right-
eyes. On a scale, now look at it with your inner eyes. On a scale of 0 to 10, rate the sensation. First impression.
Say it's a 7.
Excellent. I want you to notice that there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color, first impression?
Oh, me. Yellow.
Reach in, grab all that yellow energy.
Here.
Wherever it is, reach all, take it all out, hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you got it all, because sometimes that shit hides. See, I told you.
Okay.
You got it all?
Yes.
You sure? Double check.
Yeah.
Excellent. As you look at it, as you look at it with your inner eyes, did the color change or stay the same? First impression.
Changed.
Cool. What did it change to?
Kind of a deep orangey color.
Excellent. As you look at it, notice that color is spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? First impression.
Spinning that direction.
Excellent. I want you to grab it with both of your hands. Physically grab it. And I want you to reorient it in space so it's the opposite of what it was. So if it's spinning one direction, turn it so it's spinning the opposite. Physically turn it. Good.
Oh, yeah.
Now double the spin. Double the speed. Double the force. Double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was.
Okay.
When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Notice the change. Notice.
Wow. Right?
Scale of 0 to 10.
I'd say it's a 1.5.
Try it. Spin it faster.
Okay.
Boom.
Okay.
Now?
Yeah.
Gone?
Yeah.
Big round of applause for the lady. Oh, by the way, try to bring it back.
I really don't want to do that.
I usually get that. Okay? I usually get one of 3 answers when I do this. First one is, I say, notice what happened, and they say, all right, try to bring it back, and they go, I can't. Or I say, try to bring it back, and they say, it's getting better. Or I say, try to bring it back, and they go, I don't want it back! Well done. See? No, yes?
So are you working off the chakra system?
No.
Because she pulled out an orange energy vortex,
No.
and she spun it like a chakra.
I know.
Okay, so it's not working off the chakra system at all.
No. No, we go beyond that. Yes?
Yeah, I noticed that when it's something they want to keep, they continue to spin it the direction that was spinning when they identified it.
Yep.
And when they don't want it, you tell them to go the opposite.
Yes, I do. Why? Goes back to Chinese medical theory, law of yin and yang. I am an acupuncturist, after all. Law of yin and yang tells us, I'm going to contrast NLP and TCM. Two things. I'm also a master trainer, by the way. Master practitioner and trainer in neuro-linguistic programming. So yes, I can certify you if you guys want to learn all this weird stuff. TCM talks about the law of yin and yang. Law of yin and yang says that yin and yang cannot exist without each other. Right? Black, white, good, evil, hot, cold, dry, wet. Can't exist. One cannot exist without the other. One can only be defined in terms of the other. Right? Now, while I'm on this subject, the yang part of a person is their functional aspect. In other words, it's the function of the liver or the mechanics. All right? It's not the structure. So when you do this exercise, the first thing that will come back is the function. But the biomechanical component takes time. Okay, I'll tell you a funny story real quick. I was out at a martial arts camp, and 2 years ago, as a matter of fact. And there was a British couple, and she happened to be a hypnotist. She was big into Ericksonian hypnosis and things like that, which is a conversationally driven system. And she had come back, and she was like strutting in, saying that she had just done a pain control session on her husband to take his hip pain away. And I'm kind of competitive. So I said, really? Cool. On a scale of 0 to 10, you know, like how good is it? And he gives me a number. I'm like, oh, great. I'm thinking, how can I do this without being a dick? Right? Because I have this internal check. Because I have an ego the size of Texas. Right? And when I do the work that I do, I have to make sure that I'm coming from the right space. So many times, even though I want to just rush in there and zap people, I won't. I have to wait till I'm not doing it to build me up. Does that make sense? So I'm very aware of that. I am not a humble guy. Although sometimes, when you see the stuff that happens, it's extraordinarily humbling. The stuff that I do, it's like science fiction sometimes. Right? I mean, how's your hip feel?
As soon as you asked, it was starting from back.
Uh-huh.
But as soon as you asked, it like...
See, the minute we act, see, what happened is she had a program. This goes back to the yin and yang. And NLP. Remember I said everything your system does has a code? By the way, you need to probably stretch that piriformis out because what's happening is a lot of it is biomechanical. Okay? NLP tells us that everything human beings does has a code, has a structure to it. Here's where TCM and NLP merge. Law of yin and yang says you can't have one without the other. NLP says everything we do is a code. That means your system cannot code for pain without automatically creating the code for its opposite. It's just the way you work. Once I isolate how your system codes one sensation, I automatically know how it codes for its opposite. But that's not enough. Now I have to stack as many parts of the nervous system as humanly possible. Energetically, physically, psychologically, emotionally. From the paleocortex to the reptilian, to the mammalian brain, to the neocortex. I need to get your internal environment interacting with your external environment. I need to get your physical body interacting with your subjective bodies. I'm going to light your nervous system up like a Christmas tree. And through it all, I'm going to hit you with certain key phrases that activate things in your nervous system that you can't resist. And that's a different class, but that's all going on in that 2-minute intervention. And I'll stay with it until it's gone. She was very, most of the time I do it, I only got to do it once. Every now and then I got to do 3 times. It'll drop every time. Sometimes you'll get a certain way into the process, and they won't go any further. Or they'll try to come back. When that happens, what it really means is that there's an aspect of the experience that the unconscious mind needs to keep. There's a lesson that's mixed into the feelings and the code of the experience that the unconscious mind cannot get rid of, or won't get rid of. Not necessarily it can. It can get rid of everything. Because all it does is record and delete and distort information. That's what it does. Okay? And if that happens, we have other interventions for that. But that's the only time that you don't get resolution. I have never, that's a bold statement, especially on video in a room like this. I have never used this process and not gotten a change where the subject followed the instructions.
How long have you been doing this?
I first got the download in 2005. I didn't know what I had until about 2 years ago. I didn't know what I had. It was just something I'd done on a whim at a training, and I didn't realize. And I'll tell you about my cancer.
Why isn't this just a pinched nerve?
What do you mean?
Like, I guess it's kind of confusing. You're saying that this is like it's coding and it's the yin and yang and it's this energy, and if you can fix it by showing her the yellow and changing it and turning it around or whatever, and it might go away for a minute because her mind tells her that, but how is that?
It's more than just her mind, it's her whole system.
Right, and it's like, so how is that not?
Try to bring it back.
I mean, well, she doesn't want to bring it back, but.
But I'm telling her to try and bring it back. That's my point.
But it will come back because it is.
No, that's your belief.
That's not my belief. I'm just saying it's like.
No, that's your belief. It's not coming back.
Hey, your phone number, no, I'm kidding. If it came back.
All right? Okay?
I'm just wondering why that is. I'm just trying to see how.
I'm just trying to see what specifically.
That if it's not something, I think for me, you're looking at it as like it's an energy and it's something that can be changed, which I agree with. I think that our bodies are fully connected, and a lot of what we believe causes us to have certain anxieties or some. Even I even believe that you can get cancer.
Oh, I know you can get cancer.
From negative thoughts or things like that. But I'm just wondering with this particular thing, if it's that she just sits like this all day long.
Absolutely. If there's something she's doing biomechanically that re-aggravates it, then she can re-injure it.
Yeah.
Right? That's not, again, what I said was I changed the functional aspect. The biomechanical aspect has to be addressed. That's why I also said just because I can change something doesn't mean I should. I was very specific. Can I change this for you? Right? I had a girl, if you go to my YouTube channel, I had a girl that had a toothache at Hypnothoughts convention. And she came up and I said, is it okay to get rid of it? Because if the pain goes away, we tend to forget about it. Right? If I take the pain away, you think you're cured. And many times you are. But not always. Right? Maybe I cured it, maybe I didn't. That's not up to me to decide. That's up to your nervous system. But I do know that every experience that she has, in spite of what you believe, has a code and a structure to it. And it's her code. And the one code you never resist is your own. If I tell her to do something, she may resist it. If she decides to do something, she won't. Does that make sense? That's the secret, okay? If I just install something into your system that isn't native to your environment, it may work, it may not. If I put something in your system that is your system, that you created, there's no resistance. Because you owned it. You made it. Does that make sense? Who else has got an ouchie? It's something that you want to get rid of. Come on up. And it doesn't have to be physical, by the way. It could be emotional. All right? What's your name, sweetie?
Sunyo?
Sunyo?
Yes.
My name's David. You having fun so far?
Yes.
What's going on with you?
Allergy.
Allergy?
I developed allergy.
To what?
Like hives.
Hives?
Yes.
Ooh, I never worked with an allergy before. This should be interesting. So, is it anything in particular?
It started several years ago from stress, I think.
From stress?
Yes.
So is there a time when you start to feel stressed and that you know it's going to trigger that feeling?
Yes.
Where in your body does that feeling start? Oh my God, they're coming from you. Where in your body does that feeling start?
Here.
Close your eyes. On a scale of 0 to 10, I want you to rate the intensity of that feeling. What's the number, first impression?
Now I'm nervous in front of everybody. So right now, 8.
8. Excellent. Look at it with your inner eyes. I want you to notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color, first impression?
Dark gray.
Dark gray. Excellent. Do you believe in energy?
Yes.
Reach in with both of your hands. Physically grab all that dark gray energy. Take it out and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes it hides, okay? Let me know when you've got it. Reach in, pull it all out. Physically pull it all out. You've got to get them acting this out. There you go. Is it all in your hands? Make sure it's all in your hands.
Yes.
Excellent. As you look at it, did the color change or stay the same?
Same.
Notice it's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? Physically grab it with both of your hands. Now, turn it so it's the opposite of what it was. Now double the spin. Double the spin. Double the speed. Double the force. Double the amplitude. Double the magnitude. So, keep doubling that energy until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. And when you know you've got it, slam it back in. That's it. Yeah, get into it. Slam it back in. Notice the change. Notice it's gone.
Is it gone?
What do you feel?
I don't know.
What do you feel in here?
Feels good.
Feels good.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
Okay.
Are you nervous anymore?
No.
Really?
No, my heart.
It's just going to get better.
Thank you.
I'll help you down.
Yes.
Your nervous system, guys. Your nervous system. Got something? I know. Usually what happens is there'll be, did you see how when it went back in, how she just, whoosh, right? This is not a subtle change, right? You may have emotions come up, Sunyo. Let them. What happens is when you reverse the program, you send the opposite instructions into the nervous system, and the nervous system will immediately begin rebooting the system. It'll start to jettison or purge or dissipate any experience that's stored in the body that's not in harmony with the new program. Okay? So the thing we need to understand, anytime I bring somebody up here, I'm prepared for Mount St. Helens. Because sometimes they need that. They need that moment of expression to let it come up, let it come out. Sometimes they break out in a sweat, sometimes they bawl for 10 minutes, and then they're done. Because as the feelings come out, they're being vented. You will never, it's not the feelings you express that make you sick. There was a reference made to cancer earlier. The way I rediscovered this process was working on a cancer patient. My wife is Chinese, and she has a very big family, most of whom are still in China. And we had her 6th aunt, who was a sweet, wonderful lady. I'd like to say I saved her. I did not. Okay? But I will tell you the story because it's the reason most of you are here. I taught my wife how to do energy. And my wife has a PhD in biochemistry. She's a doctor of chiropractic. She learned TCM in China, and she got her Master's of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine in this country. Okay, she was the valedictorian of her acupuncture class and her chiropractic class at the same time. Okay, so when we got on the plane to go visit her aunt, because her aunt had been given roughly 2 weeks to live, I thought she was going to go and I taught my wife how to do Reiki and pranic healing and stuff like that, but she already had a whole slew of skill sets in her toolkit. So I thought, dumb me, that we were going to go there. She was going to do the things that she knew, because I didn't speak Chinese. I barely speak English, right? And we got there, and if you've never seen the inside of a Chinese cancer ward, don't. Okay, if you're energetically sensitive, don't go there. Okay, I was vomiting and nauseous for pretty much the entire week I was out there. I was only out there for a week, but I had good state control, so 6th aunt needed some help. I got there, she was maybe 70 pounds. I mean, she couldn't get out of the chair, out of the bed. She was just there. She'd basically given up, which you'll see a lot in cancer. Okay? Cancer is almost always anger and a desire to check out. Okay? In my experience, and again, this is the world according to David. If it matches yours, use it. If it doesn't, don't. There's no such thing as an emotionally healthy cancer patient. Okay? It's the things you don't express that make you sick. It's the things that society tells you are unacceptable to say or express that make you sick. Okay? I am as outgoing as I am because I want to be healthy. I am as obnoxious as I am because I want to be healthy. And I don't give a shit what society says. Because they're the ones making you sick. They don't know it. Oh, some do. But I digress. We got there. All of a sudden, I realized the minute I walk in and I take one look at my wife, she ain't doing shit. She's just not, I mean, you know, when there's someone you care about who's in that much distress, it's just, there's a part of you that as much as calm, cool, and collected as you are, they just check out. Right? So I'm like, okay, God, you sent me here for a reason. So I'm thinking to myself, every technique I know for dealing with chronic illness is based on language. It's based on going back to the initial sensitizing event, reprocessing the experience. Even the NLP techniques I know largely are based on having an understanding of language and an English-based language. So I'm like, well, shit, what am I going to do? And then it popped into my head. Constructs. There's a lot of techniques that I've created that are based on the idea of creating a construct and something that the patient or subject can manipulate. They can physically act out. So there were two techniques that I chose that I could do through an interpreter. One was called the gray room. Sometimes when I do this workshop, I teach the gray room. And tonight we're not doing the gray room. Tonight we're going to do mostly spinning work and submodality work. And okay, I got you guys out of here soon. So basically, I started doing the gray room is where you go into this construct. It's a dome-shaped room with pearly gray walls. In the center is a big glowing fire pit. On the wall are papers in various colors. Matter of fact, you guys want to play with this real quick? Mm-hmm. All right, pretend to go into the deepest trance humanly possible. Imagine, you can do this with your eyes open or closed. It's probably better with your eyes closed. Okay? Walk into the room. See, it's a dome-shaped room like a big egg. In the center of the room is a glowing orange fire pit that's radiating a wonderful, warm, soothing energy. You can actually hear the fire crackling. And as you look around the room, you notice the walls themselves are a pearly gray color, kind of translucent. And on the walls themselves are bits of paper. And you intuitively recognize that one color represents all the positive aspects of your life. All the things that make you feel strong, confident, powerful, deserving, worthy. All the things that make you feel good about you. While the other color represents all the less than positive things. The things you consciously know about, and most importantly, the things you unconsciously know about. The things that make you feel bad at the wrong times, that guide you and move you in ways that aren't always for your highest benefit. And when you recognize the colors associated with which, all I want you to do is reach out and touch one of those pieces of paper that represents a less than positive experience. And I want you to rip it off the wall. Notice where in your body you feel it as you crumple it up in your hand. As you crumple it up in your hand, notice how that feeling in your body already begins to shift and change. And when you're ready for it, you're ready to get rid of it, walk over to that fire pit, throw it in the fire. Feel it, watch it burn up. Feel the release of energy as that piece is removed from your body. Solved, dissolved, and resolved from your body. Solved, dissolved, and resolved from your mind. Now what I want you to do when you're ready, only when you know you're ready, reach out and grab another one of those pieces of paper. Rip it off the wall. Crumple it up. Walk over to that fire pit. Notice where in your body you feel it as you crumple it up. Throw it in the fire. And feel the release. You may notice some of you starting to yawn. That's usually a sign of your body releasing. That means you're doing it right. Not everybody does it that way. Walk over, grab another one of those pieces of paper. Rip it off the wall, crumple it up, walk over to the fire pit, throw it in. Feel the release. Feel the energy releasing from your mind and body. Feel your emotions shift and change. Feel your body becoming lighter as you begin to discover the keys to changing your mind and body. And now what I want you to do in the next few minutes, at the rate and speed that's optimal for you, I want you to go through every part of this room. Rip off every piece of paper that represents a less than positive experience. The things you consciously know about, most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, the things you unconsciously know about. Be thorough. Look behind the positive papers, because sometimes that shit hides. Rip it off the wall. Crumple it up. Notice where in your body you feel it as you crumple it up. Throw it in the fire. Feel the release. Remember, the more you get the body involved, the more rapidly and deeply you change. I can't do this for you. This is all on you. Notice how good it feels. Feel the release. And if any emotions come up as they go in the fire, let them. That's just a sign that your body's reshifting and reorganizing itself. It's the way it's supposed to work. It's all dissolved and resolved from the body. Solved, dissolved, and resolved from the mind. And when you know it's done, and you work at your own speed, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, you work at your own speed. Your unconscious mind is recording everything I say. You're not going to miss anything. When the last piece of paper goes in the fire, an amazing thing begins to happen. The fire begins to double and triple in size and strength. The fire begins to radiate an internal, unlimited warmth, a strength, a nourishing energy that fills every level of your body and mind. Every cell and every atom supplying you with an endless, unlimited supply of all the things that make you feel wonderful, feel strong and confident and powerful. And then something else amazing begins to happen. All the papers remaining on the wall, all the things that make you feel strong and powerful and confident, worthy in all the right ways, the things you consciously know about and the things you unconsciously know about, they begin to glow with an inner rage. They begin to take on an energy and a fire all their own. They begin to grow and expand. And they begin to merge into one another, coating the room like a glowing, energetic sheet of wallpaper that just bathes you in a never-ending supply of all the things that make you feel wonderful, make you feel worthy, give you the energy and the desire and the ability to move forward in life in a way that's right and natural for you, in a way that you know you've got it. And when you know you've got it, you feel that energy actually moving into your physical body, taking up residence in the places where you store those kinds of experiences, and like a miniature sun inside of you, like a never-ending supply of all the things that make you feel good, that give you what you need to move forward and become the person who can have the life that you truly want. Your unconscious mind will automatically begin to shift and change and make all of those changes happen for you. Not just consciously, although that's important, but unconsciously. Tonight, while you sleep and while you dream, your other than conscious mind will take all the learnings of today. It will take the things it's seen and it's experienced and it's learned, and it will rewrite your entire neurology. It'll begin to change the wiring in your brain and body so that your life only gets better. So that when you think about the past, you only think about it in ways that make your life better. And from this moment on, that becomes the criteria for what you accept into your life, either through suggestion or through impression. The criteria is simply, how is this making my life better? And if the answer is it's not making your life better, you have complete freedom and authority to change it to a way that it does. That's the power you all have. And you've always had it. It's just that nobody told you how to access it. Tonight, while you sleep and while you dream, your other than conscious mind, the part of you that controls every part of you, will make those changes for you in a way that you know you're getting it. It gives you more choice, more freedom, more awareness, more of all the good things that you want in life. It's just the way you work. When you know you've got it, Allow that energy to just saturate your body. Notice it's spinning in a certain direction. Notice how it happens to the feelings in your body as that energy begins to spin faster and faster and faster. Stronger and stronger. Permeating and spreading out to every level of your body and mind, giving you an unlimited supply of everything you could want, everything you could need, in a way that you know that you're getting it, guiding you to become the kind of person who can have what they want. When you know you've got it, allow your eyes to open, look up here. Notice how good you feel. How are you feeling? Good, good. Okay? That was the technique that we started with. And then she had reached a point in her process where things were starting to shut down. She had fluid in the pericardium. We spun it. It went away. She had shortness of breath. We spun it. It went away. She had ascites. That took a little bit longer. Okay? By the end of the third day, she was walking around the cancer ward swinging her IV bottle like a samurai warrior. Okay? She was getting progressively stronger every single day. Okay? Our week was up. We went back to the United States. Shortly after we left, they moved her to another hospital. We don't know what happened from that point on. Was it because we couldn't continue doing sessions? I don't know. Was it because something in the environment? She was very suggestible. Chinese as a rule are, especially ones from mainland China, because their whole culture is about indoctrination and mind control. So you have to understand suggestion is powerful, and it's not always conscious. Right? That's why I install parameters in you. Is it making your life better? It's already there. I gave it to you. If any suggestion comes your way that doesn't improve your life, it has no power over you. Unless you want it to. Because I don't take choices away. I help you have more. Is that okay? Okay. It is 9 o'clock. How many people... is this useful stuff? Is this good stuff? Okay, excellent, excellent. What we've got coming up... Tracy, can you hand out the papers? We're going to do a few more things, but I just want to make sure I want to get you out of here at a relatively reasonable time. What I want you to do is I'm going to teach you I'm going to teach you the spinning technique so you can go home and you can play with it. Okay? The secret is, if there's something, does anybody have any do you want me to do one more demo, or do you want me to just teach you guys to do this? Just teach you? All right. Here's how it works. Many times I will, if I want to make sure I have all the systems working together, I will start with what I had you guys start with at the beginning of this meetup. I had you reach out and find a picture, right? Touch the picture and notice where in your body you feel it. That's called a somatic bridge. That is not NLP. That's something that David figured out on his own. Anytime I physically reach out and I connect my imagery to my body sensations, I activate more of the brain and nervous system than if I just played with a picture. Okay? I've changed different routes. I find the picture. Once I reach out and I touch the picture, I might play with the size and shape of it again, just to be sure I know where in my body it lives. Other than that, there's no reason to actually find the picture, unless I'm going to do another kind of intervention. Then once I know where in my body it lives, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to look at that sensation with my inner eyes. I'm going to ask myself a very simple question. There's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color first impression? First thing that pops into my head is what I'm going to go with. You guys follow me so far? I'm going to reach in physically. Got to get the body involved. Doesn't seem like a big deal. It's everything. Okay? Reach in and physically grab all of that energy, all that color. Whether you believe it's actually energy or it's a color, it doesn't matter. Just reach in, grab all of it, take it out, make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides. And you guys discovered, those of you who came up, that some of that shit hid, didn't it? Right? Be thorough. Take it out, hold it in your hands in front of you. Notice, did the color change or stay the same? Pay attention to that. It's usually significant, but not something you need to worry about. Grab it physically with both of your hands. If it's something you want more of, notice the direction it's spinning. Physically move the energy, that color, in the direction it's already moving. Keep physically doubling the spin, doubling the speed, doubling the amplitude, until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. And when you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Key phrase, notice the change. If it's something you want more of, notice it just keeps getting better. If it's something you want less of, notice it's gone. On a scale of 0 to 10, rate the intensity of the sensation. If it's anything other than a 0, take it out, spin it again, put it back in until it's zeroed out. Wash, rinse, repeat. That's it. Yep. If I'm looking at the energy, let's say I want to radiate more trust and compassion. Okay, I will isolate in my body where that feeling lives. As I look at it, I'll notice there's a color connected to that feeling. I'll notice the color. I'll reach in. I'll grab all of that energy. I'll take it out and I'll look at it. I'll hold it in my hands. I'll look at it with my inner eyes. I'll notice it's spinning in a certain direction. If it's something I want more of, I'll grab it with both of my hands and I'll spin it over and over and over again, over and over, until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When I know I've got it, I'll slam it back in. Notice the change. Notice it just keeps getting stronger. Yes?
When you just demonstrated that the touch that you have in this conference and then the sound you make really were both very significant. How you learn that?
Yes. The secret to this, when I'm up here and I'm doing a process with you, I'm doing the process with you. When I connect with, there's energetics going on here. You don't need to understand the energetics of what I'm doing to do it to yourself. If you're going to work with other people, you want to do this, it's important to have a deep neurological connection. Heart math calls that coherence. It's a synchronization of the nervous system. It's based on the laws of physics, not white light, new age stuff. Okay? In our trainings, we go deep into that. When I'm with you, not only am I guiding you through the process, your eyes are closed, but how many times when they're doing this process am I right there? I've got something in my hands, I'm spinning it right along with you. Right? That connection activates your mirror neurons. It activates your proprioceptive nervous system, which is the part of you that monitors time and space and electromagnetic fields. It's the part of you that monitors the internal environment in terms of pain reception, mechanoreception. If you were to have a sixth sense, it would be your proprioceptive nervous system. Only it wouldn't be your sixth sense. It would be your sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth sense. Because there are at least 6 different nerve endings that feed information into your proprioceptive system. It's the same part of you that gives you those creepy feelings when a guy's staring at your butt from across the room. Okay? It's that part of you. If I reach into my pocket, and I feel something in my pocket, it's the part of me that knows what's in my pocket without me having to look. When I close my eyes and I hold my hands out in front of me, it's the part of my system that knows where my hands are in space. It's not your aura, although it's the physiological counterpart of it. Everything I'm teaching you is neuroscience. I'll give you the sources, you can look them up. I don't take credit for I take credit for the synthesis, not the source. Okay? Your nervous system cannot code anything without automatically coding for its opposite. Once you know how you code an experience, you gain power over it, as long as you disidentify from the process. Realize it's just something you're doing, not who you are. That's a very important concept. Anytime you become identified with something, usually the statement is prefaced by I am X. If I tell you what I do for a living, I say I'm an accountant, I'm a banker, I'm a neurolinguistic programmer. I am is an identity statement, which means you will fight to keep that identity just as hard as you would fight to keep somebody from cutting off your arm. Okay? The first thing we need to do is realize that every experience that we have is a process we're running. Every memory you have is a photograph or a recording that you have. It is not you. It is not the thing that happened. It is simply something you're doing. And you can always change what you're doing. Does that make sense? That being said, what's in your hands is a... Actually, let's just do this real quick. How many people got something they want to get rid of real quick? I just want to give tonight. I don't know. Everybody stand up who wants to get rid of something. Now, for the sake of ease and comfort, on a shittiness scale of 0 to 10, let's pick something in the low 3 to 5 range. Okay? If you guys have something heavier you want to get rid of, after we go through the worksheet, I'll be happy to work with you a little bit one-on-one and help you clear some stuff out. That's why I come tonight. That's why I do the things I do. Okay? So, there's something you guys want to change, something you want to get rid of, reach out and touch the picture. Find a picture of it. Trace the edges of it so you know how big it is. First thing I want you to do is I want you to make it worse. So grab the picture, make it bigger. Notice the icky feeling. Notice where in your body you feel it. Okay? Make sure you know exactly where it is. Now bring the picture back to its normal size. Now, imagine that there's a little set of knobs along the bottom of that screen. One controls the brightness of the image. I want you to turn the brightness knob all the way to the right until the image whites out. Turn the image all the way to the left until the image blacks out. Notice which one feels better. Pick whichever one feels better. If it's white, turn it all the way to the right. If it's black, turn it all the way to the black. Okay? Now, just in case there's something from this experience that your unconscious mind needs to preserve, some lesson, I want you to imagine in your dominant hand is a little glowing magic marker. Across that white or black screen, I want you to write everything this experience had to teach you that needs to be kept so you can keep the lessons and let the rest go. The screen will scroll, so write as much or as little as you want. Notice what happens to the feelings in your body as you begin to express. Physically expressing that. When you know you're done, and keep going. I don't care. You take as long or as little as you need. Once you know you've got it, take that image, shrink it down to the size of a postage stamp. Now take it, crumple it up, throw it behind you. You know the sound a nail gun makes when you nail something? Ka-chook! Now try to bring it back. What just happened? It's gone, isn't it, Marcus? Uh-huh. Now, point to where that feeling used to be. Close your eyes. Look at where that place used to be. Notice there's a feeling connected to where it used to be. Notice the color, first impression. Reach in, grab that energy. Take it out and hold it in your hand in front of you. First thing I want you to notice, did the color change or stay the same? Doesn't matter, as long as you can answer it. Notice it's spinning in a certain direction. If it's something you want more of, physically grab it with both of your hands. Double the spin in the direction it's going. Double the spin. If it's something you want less of, turn it so it's the opposite of what it was. Double the spin. Double the speed. Double the force. Double the magnitude. Keep doubling it. Double it, double it, double it. Over and over and over again, ladies and gentlemen. Double it until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible to go back the way it was. When you know it's impossible to go back the way it was, and only then slam it back in. Notice the change in whatever direction you want it. Whatever feelings connected to those experiences are there. If it's something you want to get rid of, let the feelings come up, let them come out. As you feel them, you reveal them. As you reveal them, you heal them. When you know you're done, try to bring it back. Notice what happens. Can't do it, right? Give yourselves a big round of applause. Wherever it needs to go. Many times, I just noticed this recently, is many times when I have somebody pull something out, it's almost always in the solar plexus. And they take it out and they spin it, the opposite, and when they put it back in their heart. I've just started to notice that pattern. But it was something that I told them when I tell them to put it back where they got it, but they don't. Something about their system knows where that new experience needs to go. Okay? I didn't write this. Again, I got this down. This technique was downloaded to me. If you believe in the higher power, it just came to me in one big blop one day. I was at a training. I had been learning all kinds of other stuff. And this Canadian girl comes up to me. She was from Montreal. She had this horrible migraine or backache. I can't remember which. And it just blam. And it just came out. And her stuff went away. And I didn't think anything of it for 7 years. Or close to 7 years. It was just something I did. I'd used it maybe over the course of that 7 years, maybe a total of 4 or 5 times, till I wound up in China. And I didn't have anything else. And that opened up a whole new field of study. Now, we're doing stuff that, I mean, there isn't anything we throw in that. When the subject follows the instructions, there isn't anything we haven't thrown out that it hasn't affected to some degree. Okay? How many people here just got a major change? Very cool. How many people don't want to tell me? Let's see. All right, in your hands, for those of you who want to go deeper into this stuff, every so often we run this, what we call the self-mastery supercharger. How many people here would like to attract more love into their life? Cool. How many people here would like to dissolve the blocks to your success? Ooh, good. How many people here would like to make more money? Excellent. Remove fears? Unlock your authentic self and get what you deserve in life? Cool. Huh? Well, again, the whole idea behind this evening is to become the person who can have all those good things. On October 4th and 5th, 2014, we're doing our next 2-day self-transformation, self-mastery supercharger. This is not just a self-hypnosis event. Most of the people who come to my meetups want to do one of several things. They either want to fix their stuff, they want me to fix their stuff, or they want to fix other people's stuff. And I have a special love for the people who want to fix other people's stuff. I call them a special kind of stupid. Because anybody who volunteers to go in and shovel people's crap, to run into the burning building that everybody runs out of, you're a special person. We call those people heroes, by the way. We need more of them. But you're no good to the world broke, figuratively or monetarily. You're no good to the world disempowered. You're no good to the world unhappy, unsatisfied. So the first rule is fix your own stuff. Get the life you want before you worry about giving the life that everybody else wants. Does that make sense? On October 25th, or 21st through the 25th, we're doing our next certification. For those of you who are interested in becoming a certified hypnotist, therapist, that's our certification track. If anybody wants to opt into that, we have a special package that includes this training, but not everybody wants to do that. Some of you guys left, some of the people left early, so they're going to miss out, but everybody who came out tonight and put up with my crap gets a free gift from me. Usually to walk into my door is anywhere from $175 to $350 an hour. Everybody who came out tonight, on your chair is a card, or several cards as a matter of fact. The back of the room is my lovely daughter Tracy. Everyone here gets a free 30-minute consultation with me in my office in Solana Beach. If you get to come, if you live far away like Orange County or LA, you can do it by phone. Okay? I don't necessarily promise to fix your problem, but I do promise to listen, to figure out if what I do and what I offer is a fit. If it is, I'll tell you, and we'll strategize a way for you to get the help you want. If it isn't, and I'm not a fit for everybody. I piss some people off, okay? Which is very indicative of more. It says, actually, the people that get triggered by me says more about you than it does about me. Okay? It took me a long time to realize that. When people get upset with you about something, it's telling you more about them than it does about you. If I can help you, I'll tell you. If I can't, I'll tell you that too. And I'll do my best to point you in a direction that you can go. Yes?
I have a daughter who lives in Hawaii.
Uh-huh.
Can she cover?
Yes, as long as, important, very important. I would love to help your daughter, but I'm going to tell you exactly what happens 9 times out of 10 when somebody else brings somebody to my office. They don't want to be there. Okay? You can see it walking in the door. Right? They're there because somebody they love wants them to be there, and they're doing it to please you. If, we'll do a 30-minute consultation, if I get the impression that she's there because she wants something, that she wants to be there, I'll take her on as a client. If I get the impression that she's there because she wants to make you happy, I won't.
Like,
In spite of what comes out of her mouth, I won't take her.
You take those clients like by phone consultation?
Yeah. Yeah, I do that now. Ever since I started telling my cancer stories, I've gotten people all over the world who are calling me and doing phone sessions and things like that. I still prefer in-person work because I have more control of the environment. I can actually, if you start going into a physiological response, I can help monitor it and change it. Whereas over Skype, the internet goes out, you're halfway through a process, I'm like, ugh. Right? I've had that happen. That's why I had to start doing phone sessions out of my home. Because the internet is so unreliable at our clinic, I won't do it anymore. I will literally pad either side of my phone sessions with like 40 minutes on either side to make sure I have time to get back and forth from the home office to the clinic. We have a beautiful clinic in Solana Beach, by the way. We do meetups there on Wednesday nights on energy healing. And we're going to be doing an NLP skill building meetup there on Wednesdays as well. So for those of you who want to learn more about NLP before you jump all the way in, or if you have certifications but have no opportunity to practice, it's a great place for you to come and kind of get your feet wet and rehearse some skills. So those are things that we're doing. Again, we're all over the place. This workshop is designed for people who want to fix their own stuff. Okay? So you all get the free 30-minute consultation. All you got to do is put your name, address, and phone number on the back of that Action Chiropractic and Wellness card. Hand it to my lovely daughter back there. She will get you on our schedule, and they'll book you. There's no, again, free 30-minute consultation. You normally have to pay anywhere from $175. I'm going to raise my rates in January, but $175 to $350 an hour to come in. We'll take a look at what you got going on. We'll make some recommendations, and if it's a fit, we'll see what needs to happen next. If not, you can ask me anything you want. I won't hold anything back, okay? Because I'm all about you guys, okay? Most of the things that I'm standing up here teaching you, I didn't develop them for you. I developed them for me. I had stuff in my life that I needed to fix, that I wanted to do, and nobody could teach me how to do them. And I had to go to all these different sources and put something together that worked. It turns out that a lot of people have the same stuff going on that I had. And if you find value from what you got tonight, if you had a good time, please post good things to the meetup. Tell people about it. If you didn't have a good time, if I pissed you off, please post to somebody else's meetup. Okay. Normally for this particular event, when I teach it as a therapy group, it's $1,950. Okay. But what I'm doing for people is normally what I do for meetups is I cut that in half, and it's $975. But you guys are really special. I love you. So what we're going to do is for anybody who wants to jump into that 2-day training, it's October 4th and 5th. It's $497. That's it. But don't jump into this unless you really want to change. Because the way this works is it's not lecture. It's not like me standing up here. Exactly. The way it works is I demonstrate the technique. I explain the technique. I install the technique in you. You do it to each other until you own it backwards and forwards. And then you learn how to do it to yourself. So by the time you reach the end of the second day, there isn't anything. Charles will tell you, he's been through it. Who else has been? John, you've been through it, John. Yeah. 2 Johns, right? Jeff has been through it. Talk to these guys. They will tell you. You will come out a different person. Your life will change. The process is called Identity by Design. It's a 7-stage process that teaches you how to rewrite every aspect of your life. So that when you remember the past, you only remember it in ways that make your life better. It gets rid of those voices in your head that are constantly telling you all the shit, all the bad things about you, and replaces it with a voice that only tells you the very best things about you and a voice that you can always believe. It teaches you how to take on the qualities, traits, and attributes of people you really admire and install them directly into your nervous system. It teaches you how to reorganize the filing system that controls your past so that all the negativity, the structure is changed so that when you remember things, it has no power over you. When you remember the good things, you only remember them in ways that make your life better. You'll practice the spinning technique over and over and over again and work it into everything. So if anything comes up that you want to fix, you can fix it in an instant.
Where is this going to happen?
It's going to happen October 4th and 5th.
Where?
It's in Solana Beach at my clinic. There should be an address. The address should be on here. If not, it's on the clinic card. For those of you who want to enroll, Tracy will make sure you get an extra card with the address on it. Yes?
Look for a third floor. Nobody can find that place.
Yes.
What are the hours?
Hours are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
9 a.m.
Yes.
Okay.
hmm Yes.
What's your, how do you find your supplement?
How do you find me? I would type in, there's a couple of videos that are really, really popular. If you type my name in, they'll come up. Like Speed Attraction, Secrets of Personal Transformation, Renegade Romance are all very popular. So you could probably find those easy. Or you could type in David L. Snyder on the YouTube search engine and my stuff should come up. I mean, I'm all over. Yeah. You can also go to NLPpower.com. NLPpower.com, I started archiving. I load everything up to YouTube first for search engine work, and so people can find us. But then I take the edited portions of the training and I put them for free for a short time on the NLP Power website. So you can go to the NLP Power blog and watch all the meetups that we've done over the past 6, 7, 8 months. For those of you who are in my private mentoring program, there's a special members only section where you can access all the videos from the personal group trainings we've done for the last 4 years. Everything's archived there. Now, we haven't talked about the mastermind. I don't want to throw too many things at you, right? So this training, and again, it's depending on size. If I got 6 or more people, I'll probably move it to here, which you all know where that is. But up to 6, it's going to be at my clinic in Solana Beach because we have this beautiful balcony overlooking the ocean. So we do the lecture report, and then everybody goes out on the balcony and zaps each other. It's hysterical to watch. It's a party. It really is. Because I bring all the chocolate and candy, and there's all kinds of cool restaurants. It's in the Cedros, or in the Solana Beach Design District, if you know where Cedros is. It's a really beautiful place, so it's nice. So that's what we've got going on. And if anybody wants to jump in tonight, before you leave, see Tracy. She'll run your information. I'm going to give you 2 more things. Okay? I'm going to drop another $200 off. So you get the whole thing for $297. And I'll throw in a complete video copy of the training for you. So you'll have it to take with you. Now, Marcus, because you went ahead and jumped into the October training, I don't want your money.
Watch it now. Oh, man.
You get this for free.
Oh, watch it now. Okay.
Anybody else who wants to do that? If you want the Marcus special? Anybody who actually wants to use these skills to help other people? And again, that's not everybody. That's a very small demographic. Tonight's workshop is about just showing you what's possible. Showing you that you're not stuck, you're not broken. You can change anything. And I'm truly starting to believe that there is nothing we can't change. The longer I do this work, the more people I work with, the more challenges I accept. The only thing the only parameters to the work, this kind of work, is that the person doing it follows the instructions with absorption and focus. And you notice, whenever I bring somebody up here, I don't just say go back to your seat. I say try to bring it back. I test it. I'm always testing. Right? Because that's how you learn. The stuff I come up with, or the stuff I'm sharing with you, it didn't come about because of things that worked. It came about because things went wrong. And I had to figure it out. And that's kind of the core of what we do in our hypnotherapy trainings and NLP certifications. We call it hypnosis or NLP in free fall. Get the change no matter what. So it develops within you a very, very determined, flexible skill set that allows you to be free to express who you are and get the changes your way. We're not going to give you scripts. We're going to show you the principles. We're going to teach you the techniques. And just like you would go to a martial arts class and practice the same punch over and over and over again, we're going to drill you on those skills over and over and over again, whether you're coming for self-work, whether you're coming to work to help other people. Everything we do is about wiring these things into you, not just unconsciously like some trainers like to claim, but giving you the ability to do it anytime, anywhere, for any reason. That's what NLP Power is about. That's why I stand up here and I share these things, because people need to do the stuff you've just learned tonight. You need to be doing it for yourself, first and foremost, And then ultimately, when your shit's handled, you'll be much more open to helping other people. Helping the people you love, the people you care about. Thank you.